months, the mainstream media, they have tried to convince us that Paige Bueckers is a draw. Me personally, I think she's a star, but I'm not exactly convinced that she is a draw.
Ever wondered why the media is putting so much hype behind Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark when the numbers tell a different story? Bueckers' draft night drew just 1.3 million viewers, half of the 2.6 million Clark attracted last year. That sharp contrast cuts through the popular narrative. Both players have impressive resumes. Bueckers with her championship pedigree and Clark with her record-breaking scoring. But these viewership stats reveal something deeper, a clear difference in public interest that the media coverage doesn't quite reflect.
She ain't on Caitlin Clark's level in terms of excitement or accomplishment. And I know they just won a national championship, but she played with two players that are either just as good, and Sarah Strong's probably better than her or will be better than her.
Let's break down what these ratings really mean and why there's such a noticeable gap between media narratives and actual public interest. The numbers don't lie. They expose a deeper story about audience engagement, star power, and marketability. By peeling back the layers behind these viewership figures, we can uncover the real market dynamics at play. It's not just about talent or accolades. It's about who moves the needle, who captures attention, and who truly drives the game forward.
This is probably the most horrible ran draft I've seen in sports history. Like, this was just terrible. The WNBA did a horrible job with this. From one, the marketing was terrible all the way up until the draft itself. It was just bad.
The highly anticipated WNBA draft took place this week, and Paige Bueckers made headlines as she stepped out with her girlfriend, turning the entire event into a spectacle. It wasn't just about basketball. The night became a blend of sports, style, and spotlight, drawing attention both on and off the court.
Now, that number, it can be credited 100% to Paige Bueckers because every other player involved was completely unknown.
The numbers are in, and they tell a story the mainstream sports media isn't eager to highlight. While many are celebrating Paige Bueckers drawing 1.3 million viewers as a major win for women's basketball, there's a glaring truth being overlooked. That viewership is barely half of what Caitlin Clark pulled in just a year ago, 2.6 million. Framing Bueckers' numbers as a triumph without context ignores a broader reality about audience interest, star power, and what truly drives the sport's momentum.
Last year, 2.45 million, peaked with 3.09 million, up 307% from the previous high back in 2004. You guys might be asking, what was the ratings back in 2004? A very curious bunch. I appreciate it. We all want to stay informed. Me as well. 601,000 from 2004.
That 1.3 million might sound impressive until you stack it up against the numbers Caitlin Clark brought in last year. A staggering 2.6 million viewers tuned in for her draft night. That's not just more, it's double the audience. The comparison isn't even close, and it highlights just how wide the gap really is when it comes to drawing national attention.
I'm here with Anissa and Rakia, and we are holding it down right now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
It's okay.
Sorry. What?
Go ahead, say your name.
Cheyenne Zellers. I'm so sorry. That is embarrassing. Cheyenne.
This 50% drop in viewership sends a clear message about who truly drives interest in women's basketball. Despite the WNBA and ESPN's heavy efforts to position Paige Bueckers as the new face of the league, the numbers tell a different story. It's like scheduling a doubleheader with Clark playing the first game and Bueckers the second, only to see half the crowd leave after Clark's performance wraps up. During the draft broadcast, the awkward fumbling of players' names by a reporter also underscored the lack of excitement surrounding this draft class, especially when compared to last year's Clark-dominated event.
Why was last year's draft such a big deal? Well, Caitlin Clark was getting drafted. Reason number one, Caitlin Clark getting drafted. Reason number two, why it was such a big deal. Well, Caitlin Clark was going number one overall. And the third reason why, calling a spade here, these three women, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Perfect storm.
Even veteran broadcaster Tim Wilson remarked off-air, asterisk, I've never seen such a stark difference in energy from one draft to the next. Asterisk, he went on to say, asterisk, this ratings drop should set off alarm bells throughout the WNBA front office. Asterisk, after the momentum Caitlin Clark built last season, breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, and generating widespread mainstream interest. The question now lingers. Are we watching that momentum slip away without her dominating the headlines? It's a sobering reality that the WNBA may need to address if it hopes to maintain the momentum Clark built.
Go. It's down 49%. 49% of the audience said, yeah, I'll go watch paint dry instead. In fact, some people, Jason Whitlock, he didn't even realize the WNBA draft took place the other night. He found that out the next morning, that Paige Bueckers and the WNBA draft had actually taken place.
These numbers carry weight far beyond popularity contests. In professional sports, TV ratings directly translate into real-world value. They determine advertising rates, influence sponsorship deals, affect team valuations, and ultimately have a direct impact on player salaries. A 50% drop in viewership isn't just a minor shift. It could cost the league millions in lost revenue opportunities. That's a significant financial impact that the WNBA can't afford to overlook if it wants to sustain growth and long-term viability.
Whether or not Paige Bueckers is a star or a draw, that remains to be seen. Judging by the ratings for the Dump Diver draft the other night, Paige Bueckers is not a mainstream draw yet.
What makes this situation especially revealing is the immense effort the league and ESPN put into promoting Paige Bueckers. For weeks leading up to the draft, there were profile pieces, feature stories, and endless commentary positioning her as women's basketball's brightest star. Yet, despite the media machine working at full capacity, viewers simply didn't respond with the same enthusiasm they showed for Caitlin Clark. This stark difference in engagement underscores a critical reality. No matter how much media push goes behind a player, true star power comes from authentic, sustained audience connection.
Caitlin Clark now has 3,528 points in her career. She has officially broken Kelsey Plum's record from 2006.
The social media reaction to these ratings has been telling. Fans immediately recognized what these numbers represent. Concrete evidence that Caitlin Clark is still by far the biggest draw in women's basketball. The viewership data offers undeniable proof of who truly captures the public's imagination. This significant ratings gap raises serious questions about the WNBA strategy. Can they maintain Clark's momentum when she's not the central focus? Will the financial gains from last year's Clark-driven interest erode if viewership continues to decline? And perhaps most importantly, is the league misreading what its audience actually wants? For all the talk about Bueckers being the next face of women's basketball, these ratings make it clear that Clark already holds that title, and by a considerable margin.
I've seen Paige Bueckers across social media for the last 5 years, it feels like. She's an elite female college basketball player. Had some knee injuries that she's rebounded from, but she's healthy right now. So she kind of sits behind Caitlin Clark. And I think that makes her a fade for me because I think the Caitlin Clark shadow is real. I think Caitlin Clark is so dominant in changing the game.
Whether or not Paige Bueckers is a star or a mainstream draw is still up for debate. Judging by the ratings from the draft the other night, it's clear that Bueckers hasn't yet captured the same level of widespread attention. When comparing these two stars, one question seems to be overlooked. What's more impressive, winning a single championship or completely rewriting the NCAA record books? The media spotlight on Bueckers' title has overshadowed Caitlin Clark's unprecedented statistical dominance. Clark didn't just break records. She obliterated marks that had stood for half a century, achieving feats that no basketball player has ever done before.
Notice that the media has been overwhelmingly positive in their coverage of Paige Bueckers.
Yes, Paige Bueckers has that shiny championship trophy, and she absolutely deserves credit for leading UConn to the title. But Caitlin Clark's achievement goes beyond just one victory. She became the all-time NCAA scoring leader by shattering a 50-year-old record, an unprecedented milestone that had stood for half a century in college basketball. This is just the beginning of Clark's statistical dominance. Clark led the nation in both scoring and assists in the same season multiple times, a feat virtually no other player in NCAA history has matched. This dual achievement represents basketball's ultimate paradox, being simultaneously the best scorer and the best playmaker. It's the equivalent of combining Michael Jordan's scoring brilliance with Magic Johnson's playmaking vision.